Please join me on the Glenn Lal Show, 99.1, 99.5 FM, Kaieteur Radio, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 7:20 p.m., and a rebroadcast of the next day at 11 a.m., just in case you miss that program.
This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Welcome to this evening's newscast right here on Kaieteur Radio. I am Kevin Smith. Let's get to the news in detail. The risks of government revenue from inflated exploration expenses are significant, but they pale in comparison to the risks of inflated expenses during the development phase of oil and gas projects. Oftentimes, these inflated costs run into the tens of billions of dollars. This was noted in many instances that were researched by U.S. independent think tank, the Center for Public Integrity, or CPI. In the cases it examined, CPI found that cost overruns on natural gas projects are the norm rather than the exception, often by 45% or more. In one of its analytical papers on this subject, CPI noted that initial estimates of capital costs for large petroleum projects are almost never correct. In one of the cases it studied in Angola, CPI found that initial estimates were pegged at approximately $3 billion for one LNG project, while the final costs were over $10 billion. Taking the foregoing cases into account, the American think tank urged countries, particularly new producers like Guyana, to be wary of the costs for such projects, as the evidence shows they are oftentimes inflated. And moving on, a brave 6-year-old girl reportedly saved her mother's life in a brutal knife attack last Sunday. Her mother, Gendouati Ramdio, was attacked and stabbed several times around 16:30 that day by her dad, Dwayne Williams, a taxi driver, but it was the alertness of the child that might have saved the woman from being killed. On Sunday, Williams showed up at Ramdio's home uninvited and launched a brutal knife attack on her and other family members who had intervened. The entire ordeal was captured on CCTV camera and showed the moment Williams entered the yard and also the moment he went berserk. As investigators reviewed the CCTV footage of the incident, the little girl could be seen kneeling in the yard just in front of the house. The girl bowed twice to the ground before running out of the gate. Ramdio learned later that her daughter was actually praying to God for her safety before she ran off to get help. Dwayne Williams has since been remanded to prison for attempting to murder his ex-wife and grievously wounded her mom and cousin. Williams was charged at the Lenora Magistrates Court yesterday and is expected to make his next court appearance on September 14th. In other news, members of the Ghana Police Force have launched a manhunt to locate a suspect who disguised himself as a woman, walked up to two men who had reportedly bullied him and shot at them, injuring one. The police reported that the shooting incident occurred at Block 22, Westmere Linden, on Monday around 19 hours. We understand that the 20-year-old male suspect and the 38-year-old male victim have an ongoing issue which resulted in previous conflicts. On Monday around 16 hours, the suspect was reportedly taunted by the victim and his friends as they walked through the area where the suspect lives, shouted his name and laughed at him. Ranks acting on information received went to the suspect's home, but while approaching the house, observed the suspect running shirtless into a dark gully area and making good his escape. And now let's tell you, a speeding GDF rank yesterday succumbed while receiving treatment for the injuries which he sustained from an accident on the Hararuni Public Road on the Linden-Suslike Highway. Dead is 26-year-old Wilmot Ward of Central Emilius Ward. According to the police, Ward was heading home in his motor car when he lost control of the vehicle as a result of the rate of speed that he was driving. He ended up on the West End parapet while he fell onto the driveway of Scotty Creek and received injuries to his body. It is understood that he was picked up by public-spirited citizens in the semi-conscious condition and was escorted to the Diamond Diagnostic Center, where he was seen and examined by a doctor, but later succumbed to his injuries. As a result, his body was escorted to the Memorial Gardens mortuary, awaiting a post-mortem examination. In other news, a 72-year-old man who had just collected $187,000 in pension was on Monday morning robbed by a lone bandit. The incident occurred around 11 hours, sometime after the pensioner exited the Lenore post office on the west coast of Demerara. The victim had gone to the post office where he collected his NIS senior citizen and public servant pension, which amounted to $187,000 in cash, which he secured in a black purse. He then went to a pharmacy opposite the Lenore fire station to purchase some medication. As he was about to enter the pharmacy, the suspect approached, grabbed the pensioner's purse, and started to run away. Investigations are ongoing. And moving on, the Teaching Service Commission launched its digital application process for teachers yesterday. During the launch on Tuesday at TSC's office in Brigham, Georgetown, TSC's systems analyst Ray Basu explained that the new online system will put an end to the lengthy manual paper application process. He noted that the online service will assist teachers applying for junior and senior positions, as well as teachers seeking transfers. Basu explained that applications for senior positions such as head teachers, deputy head teachers, and heads of department usually take 9 months to process. But now with the online application, this has been reduced to roughly 2 months. He said also that the process for persons applying for junior positions usually took weeks, but that has now been reduced to 3 days.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Burby's 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Time has now moved on to 19:07 in Guyana. Coming up next, a short message from the publisher of the Kaieteur News, Mr. Glenn Law, followed by the National Outlook with GHK Law. And at 19:20, the Glenn Law Show. Tell it as it is.
First time, Glenn Lal has learned that Winston Brasington, the man who's been running almost all the government corporations and state agencies in this country, including NISIL, were in charge of selling and buying anything in this country, does not even have an MBA. Wow. When questioned today, he told the court he has an EMBA. Guys, for those of you who don't know or never heard about this, EMBA is an online degree what anybody can pick up. Once you can read and write a little bit, you can pick it up. This one is an executive master in business administration. It sounds fancy, with a word executive in front, but it's not a real MBA that you get from real universities. My daughter is a qualified MBA. She obtained it from St. John's University in New York City. It's not that I'm boasting, Josh, but she went 4 years to acquire hers. What Brasington do? Couple hours online, and he said he stole the court. He had some face-to-face sessions, and that's how he got the EMBA. What a Guyana this is. Today, for the first time, I also learned that he's not even a qualified accountant. Are you hearing me, man? Winston Brasington is not even a qualified accountant. Wow. Man, what do you think I'm telling y'all, man? I learned that today in court. And this man was heading NISIL and also running almost all of the state companies in this country. Running GPL, running Gaia, the Marriott, the Borby's Bridge, and so many more. Man, anything involving big money in this country, he is inside as a director or in charge. That is what I learned today through this court case.
Not even an accountant.
Yes, and not even an accountant. It's only today me learned that, boy.
Wow.
That we have a man without an accounting certificate who is actually running Guyana's purse strings all over in every large project Guyana put on. No wonder none of them can honestly pinpoint a project the PPP did and the coalition did for the last 30 years in this country that is successful. No wonder that. No wonder that. Just hear this piece, man. Here, what is the latest project he is heading right now? The gas to shore project and the Amelia Hydro project. He was a key man behind the Hydro Falls when they first announced it back in 2007, 2008. You hear me? These two projects alone will run more than 3 billion American dollars. Remember, all our debt is how much? 2.2. And here we run a 3.3 billion US dollar project. Yeah, man. This is the financial guru without an accounting certificate or an MBA behind his name running billion-dollar projects in this country. When the coalition come in government, Bernard, he pack up his bag and run away. As soon as the PPP come in, man, the man is back in the seat, back in power, ready for make deals. Wow. And he's sitting down quietly in the background, you know. If you know the man don't talk too much, you know. Quietly sit down there. I think he's getting a fat salary too from the gas to shore project. You see? They just can't make money when they go elsewhere, you know. They have no qualification to make anything.
Exactly.
Yes. But this is Guyana. You see, I said, I love this country, but I'm ashamed to call myself a Guyanese. You know, the country never hear he hold a press conference to talk about the gas, the shore project, or the Amelia Falls project that he's heading. Go, Guyana, go, man, go. Continue living within your means. Your future and your future generations is set with these people for quite a while into the future. Just remember them words. Just this past week, Josh, if the president of Suriname didn't come here, Mr. Santoki, Guyana would have never known that the gas to shore project, headed by the same Winston Brassington, can only survive or make money, meaning a success, becoming successful, if 4 countries lend its support. You hear me? If them support it by agree to buy gas or the electricity they plan to generate. If not, it's a dead donkey. What these donkeys couldn't see all the time, we would have to bury. We also learned that there is no signed agreement, Josh, or a signed document with any one of these four countries, whether they will come on board or not. But Winston Brazelton running ahead, endangering all of us and our future generations.